Guys, we're back with another Discord League Cup match for you guys today. This time we have icydev on Lion and Will on Dragon. So this is the play-in round for the Season 7 Cup. So that's a round of 128 actually. We've got a record number of matches this season, so a lot of new blood in here, cutting their teeth in the Discord League. Let's have a quick look at these guys' lists and then we'll jump into the game, which should be getting started right about now. So our Lion player is on a Courtier Scorpion Splash build. Before the restricted list, this was a really strong way to protect your stronger events, like your For Greater Glory and Charge, from counters coming out of your opponent. You would have some Forged Edicts to counter the counter on your impactful events. Uh, with the restricted list, we don't really have the opportunity to resolve those traditional powerhouse line events, but we still have the ability to rocket up your honor. Line starting on 12 is a bit of a good starting pad. And we see that there's a bit of an honor pressure province suite here with Before the Throne and Shameful Display, putting some pressure on your opponent's honor. We also see that hand information is part of this list with 3 Meek Informants. We also see a pretty standard 3 Ageless Crone, always a good idea in the Scorpion meta. A little bit unorthodox to see 3 Spies at Court in this list, so I don't know if they're really going to have enough courtiers here to power through 3 Spies at Court, but obviously the effect is very powerful. Our Dragon player is on a bit more of a traditional list here with the Crab Splash that gained a lot of popularity before the restricted list. The cards that went in for the other restricted cards that used to be in this list are 1 Kazue. We're seeing that they're running the Jade Masterpiece and the Kitsuki's Method. Assassination has made its way back into the list, as well as Censure, Bonsai, and Indomitable Will. Now let's look really quickly on the Dynasty side. We'll see that we do still have 3 Kitsuki Yoruma, even though there's no charge here. And we do see 3 Mia Mystic. The only targets in this match are going to be your normal fan and katanas. There's no Cloud in the line list or anything fancy like that. So we'll see the game has already started. We've already seen the Lion player take an honor pressure strategy, also a safe way to protect against restoration of battle. Jumping up to 17 honor on the first turn puts him very safe from any kind of dishonor, which is not usually what the Dragon player would be trying to do anyway. We see that there's a 2 Nitan Master, 2 Fate Nitan Master opening against 1 Fate Berserker, 1 Fate Prodigy opening from Lion. So I have to imagine that this is what this line list is looking for here, just your traditional powerhouse military strength and also a little bit of that sneaky courtier tech. That Fate on the Akuma Prodigy would have been where he got the 5th honor, going from 12 to 16 with the bid and then up to 17 with the Prodigy. He just lost his political fire conflict into Art of War, so equalizing the hands a bit, but now if he wants to attack, he'll be at risk of restoration of balance. Let's see what happens to him here. So he did hit the Shameful Display, which is a pretty decent hit, all things considered. Probably like a median hit. That Nitan Master is already honored, and the Prodigy is only a 1 glory character, so not a horrible card to have found. And it is a Void Ring, so sort of thinking for the future. He's already been denied the Fire Ring, so those 2 Keeper Initiates aren't going to be coming out this turn. Void Ring just sort of trying to get that honored Nitan Master to leave the game a little earlier, but I have to wonder if this game is even going to last that long. With this kind of power tempo opening, he's going to need to put in a good defense to have any hope of getting anywhere in this game. I will say that Dragon will be at risk of one of those 3 spies at court if he loses this, and that Akuma Prodigy doesn't get dishonored. A break here would keep Lion even on breaks. Yeah, so we see that spies at court I was telling you about. We see that a court games get discarded along with a Cloud the Mind. So 2 really strong effects that were discarded. Could have been avoided if a conflict character came down to activate the Shameful Display, or if he had just played that court games. If he had played the court games, he still would have the Cloud the Mind in hand. Let's see if either player has a bonsai. Depending on what gets hit here, we will or won't see a defense. Okay, we do hit before the throne, so that's pretty risky for Dragon to break here. He's on 6 honor, and there would be a crackback on the air ring, I would have imagined. But we do see that this is contested defensively. The Lion player is not comfortable with taking 2 breaks, and we do see that Pathfinder Blade there already, so that before the throne would not have triggered. Earth Ring recharging Dragon's hand and discarding a Forged Edict out of the Lion player's hand. You know, those buys at court and the Forged Edicts really overloading Lion's courtiers, which there are not that many of them. You've got your Akoma Prodigies, I imagine the Venerable Historian, Ujiaki and LPB, which are not always going to want to dishonor. That's pretty much the extent of the courtiers you got. Forged Edict also a little bit weaker against Dragon's game plan, which is not typically centered around the event play. So sort of a middling flip for Dragon with that Master going down to no fate already. As long as he can draw into a reprieve, he should be fine. His opponent's not running any attachment control. Okay, his opponent is running 2 calling in favors, but he could have one of his 2 censures to block that. See a hard cast Toturi on the Lion side against a Dragon with no Miyamoto's Fury. It's likely to require some card play to deny it. The problem is 3 Fate on Toturi into a board where you could hit Feast or Famine at any time. You've got no game plan for if you hit Feast or Famine right now. There's no favorable ground, and you can't bow your own characters here. And we'll see if that Lion player keeps up with the dishonor pressure. I think it's not really a great idea. But yeah, 1 bid until you find Restoration of Balance. It's a cautious play, but he's gonna need to put some pressure on here. Alright, let's see what he gets. So he did hit the Feast or Famine, so I don't want to say the game's over, but we're gonna see Dragon's big character completely charged back up, and Lion's big character completely drained of Fate. Lion does call GG. I don't know if that's not necessarily an appropriate thing to say in the middle of a cup match if you don't intend on stopping. His opponent has not stopped the game though, so I guess they'll just keep playing. In all likelihood, the Dragon player has sealed the victory with that reckless attack from the Lion player. He did get the 2 keepers for his efforts, but this is pretty much his window of making use of it this turn. Alright, so as Dragon here, you've got a 2-1 Master and a 1-3 Investigator. Your opponent has 5 political skills standing and, 5 military skill standing as well, and you've got the military favor. So you have 8 cards in hand, so likely a lot more skill behind, but you don't have an overwhelming advantage this round until you roll into next round, when your advantage starts to look a lot better. Both players have a lot of fate back though, so we'll likely see a lot of dynasty buys next round. Yeah, so he does go in with the military attack, with the line player only having their political attack remaining in turn. And we do see an Earth Ring, so an incremental, going for incremental advantage here. He could have also gone for the Water Ring to bow the Prodigy, really making it more likely that he would have a bit more of an opportunity to use the Investigator offensively. We do see that with this being the only military conflict left in the round, the Lion player doesn't defend with his Berserker. Might be a little bit on tilt. I guess he wanted to use the Bonsai and the Shameful Display, but he'd still be in a better position if he had defended with the Berserker. Let's see if he commits the Stronghold to the attack. Playing a fan into a military, very likely that he is going to do it. Does he have the Bonsai to go for the break? Well, we're about to see his hand and find out. He has Double Reprieve, Wanderer, Kazue, Skirmisher, Assassination. So no way to get the break here, but he really is set up to basically not have a big character leave the game for the rest of it. Kazue could come down here. It depends what he thinks is in his opponent's hand. No, it's just going to be the win, and he gets a discard on another Legion of One. So line down to 3 cards to Dragon 7. Nitem Master standing back up for this incoming political conflict. So 6 political skill standing for Dragon, and 5 for Lion. So we'll need something in hand to win a conflict. Okay, this is the time to win or to find Restoration of Balance. I think we'll see no defense here into a political. Well, he needs 2 more or 3 more breaks to win the game, so might as well just defend here. He is down to 4 honor, so I suppose he's got to be a little careful defending with the Investigator. Will he try to look at the hand of 3 cards? Okay, he does. So it's a Dead Edict, basically, an Assassination, and a Katana. So not a very good hand here. That Spirit Caller in the Lion row will be pretty good if it's still there next round. And it will still be there next round, as Dragon's not breaking again this turn with his hand, unless he commits the Kazue. So as it stands, Dragon's gonna need to win a conflict and stand up the investigator to really have any chance of contesting the favor. He's gonna lose it, I think. Lion's hand again, Assassination Katana Edict. Dragon's hand is Assassination Skirmisher Reprieve Wanderer and Kazue. So this shameful display has been triggered already this round to honor the Keeper Initiate. So he does defend to contest the break, losing himself the favor in the process. Kazue does come down, so we are going to see the break. And this first player turn for Dragon is going to be very powerful next round. That Ujiaki in the row is leaving because it's on a broken province. Honor General is good, but you're so far behind on board. Even Honor General and Spirit Caller for a 5-drop still puts you behind on board in the long run. Dragon's likely to set up for double break on this next round. We'll see what ends up in the rows after that. Okay, so we do see Sumiko come in. Sumiko extremely powerful when you have the first player token and when you're up on board. Getting 2 attacks out of her and then a defense afterwards is insane. So that's going to be the entire turn here from Dragon, but it is quite the turn. With the game headed where it's headed, I'm not sure I agree with putting 3 Fade on her. I think I'd like to see the Swordsmith enter play as well. Even though you know your opponent has an assassination, you can... I guess you can't rep a censure very well. You've only drawn 2 cards since the last time you've seen your hand. You know Ancestral is under the Stronghold, so you're going to want to break Political on your first attack. Let's see how much Political skill. Line repping quite a bit Political skill. The Spirit Caller can call in an Ujiaki. The Honor General is 3-4, so 9 just on board. Line being a little bit salty. Yeah, so 9 political skill on board. If you include the Spirit Caller pulling Ujiaki. Each player only drawing 1 card since the last turn. We did see that there were no more swords in the Dragon player's hand, so the Nitem Master is not going to be doing its standy bowie bullshit. Unless he drew a sword in those 2 cards he drew. I think he still had 6 targets left in his deck. 6 out of 29. Yeah, so this is the air ring. He just needs to win this to basically have no way of losing this round. That Pathfinder's Blade still sitting happily on that Nitem Master. So we do see 7 skill coming in here. So Lion probably can stall out this game a little bit longer with this type of attack coming in. Okay, so just defending with the general. So we could see a stronghold used here. That forces the Spirit Caller to be used or an attachment to come down. Then we'll see if Dragon Drew will let go or some other card. Alternatively, you have the favorable ground up. Okay, we see the Ujiaki come in, as was foretold. So I don't think this is going to be a break. The military attack will be on 569 skill, so that's going to break. But with the general coming back, alright, so we see a Jade Masterpiece, interestingly enough. That does make this enough to break here. I think that was not necessarily the greediest play to try to pull back the Honor General, to try to stall out the game a little longer. But stalling doesn't really put the game into your court much. With the 2 known reprieves in hand and the 1 bidding, it's going to be hard to actually stop this dragon board for sticking around longer than your board will. Going for an attack here. I suppose you can bow Kazue, or dishonor the investigator, honor the keeper initiate. All these plays are marginal as far as their ability to actually turn around anything. Maybe he's just done with it because the military swing coming at you is still very real. Very real indeed. The defending this, I don't think it's necessary. Don't think it's necessary at all. You know he has a katana, I think, for his defense coming up on the stronghold. Yeah, we know he has a katana and 1 more card. You have an assassination though, and your opponent can't trigger their edict. So you don't really care about the initiate. So I think it's just over here. Well, no, because he won't have a defender. So I'm saying it's over, yeah. Alright guys, sorry about the volume. The microphone, I'm using a new microphone that's not as good as the old one. The old one busted, and I didn't want to spend as much money to replace it yet, so. Okay, so we're gonna see the covert on 1 keeper initiate and the assassination on the other if he needs it. Correctly coverting the no fate initiate to get the assassination on the 1 fate initiate if you need it. And bowing the no fate initiate with the water ring all seems fine. Although if you really want to not win on this conflict, it might be better to take the fate off of the Honor General or something like that. But that's the game. So yeah, just a PSA to Discord League players. I recommend not saying GG saltily in the middle of a match. GG is considered an actual concession. If your opponent stops the game after you say GG and asks for a ruling, you're gonna have been ruled as losing, especially after something as huge as that Feast or Famine flipping your Tuturi off the board. So don't do that. Thanks to both players for showing up and letting me stream. It was certainly an example of what can go wrong, I guess, brazenly attacking into the Dragon Province row, and good luck to Will in the round of 64.